All right, everybody, what up, what up, what up? What's shaking? It's your boys, your favorite fantasy analyst, Johnny V.T.V. and the Fantasy Exec. Let's get it. The Executive Network is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hit the link in the comment section for a 100% deposit match, courtesy of the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy. Win with the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy this NFL season. All right, Johnny V, what's going on with you, my man, my good brother? Glad to be with you on this Thursday evening. How's everything going?
It's going well, man. Can you believe it? We're starting week 6, dude.
It flies by, doesn't it?
Didn't it feel like we were just doing week 1 show? Like it goes by. Doesn't the calendar go by so much faster in the fall when there's football on? Because
yes, it does.
Bro, football's on 3 days a week, right? Predominantly. And Monday night starts the week. Monday Night Football, then it's okay. We have a few more days, and we're at Thursday Night Football. It's all right. Well, we only have 2 more days until we have Sunday, so it just goes so fast, bro. And it's great to be here with you, but bro, we're running out of time, man.
We really are already, so we got to start putting some money together, getting these bank accounts heavy. Yeah. Listen, Al Michaels and Curb Street have another beauty tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs, one of the best teams in the league, versus the Denver Broncos, one of the worst teams in the league. Johnny, it looks like the numbers all the way up to 11 at the DraftKings Sportsbook and really across everywhere. So that's what we're looking at tonight. But I got to start off with the disaster that is the Denver Broncos this season.
Dude, the Denver Broncos, I mean, at some point, I feel like I thought Sean Payton could help turn this around because even though you know my feeling on Russell Wilson, there's still some good football that he has left in the tank in terms of to some degree, not elite play, but solid NFL starting quarterback play with enough talent on offense around him. Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Greg Dulcich, his emergence. He's coming back tonight. Javonte Williams coming off an injury. And then he had a defense that was pretty good last year behind one of the elite corners in football, and Patrick Surtain the second. So, I thought Denver could be a little bit better. I didn't really expect them to compete because, I feel like Sean Payton just came back because he had an itch to get back into coaching, not necessarily because he was chasing a ring. But it is disappointing and a little surprised to see just how bad they are. They've been bad. They're one Chicago Bears meltdown away from being 0-5 at the moment.
100%. This is the thing with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos got a whole bunch of Bigfoot cats. Like when I say Bigfoot cats, I mean cats that you always hear about their talent, but rarely do you see it. It's like you always hear about Bigfoot out in the woods walking around, but I ain't never seen Bigfoot. You ain't never seen Bigfoot. Just like Jerry Jeudy. He looks super duper talented, but I ain't never really seen it in the NFL. Same goes for Courtland Sutton, and same goes for what Russell Wilson is right now. So I disagree. I think Russell Wilson's a dog, a DOG dog.
Yeah,
I think Jeudy is overrated. I think Sutton is overrated.
You know what though? I'm almost there with you on the Jeudy overrated because I've been like wrestling with this decision myself. That's why I never pick him in fantasy. I think Jeudy needs a fresh start. He didn't get drafted into the right system. He doesn't have a good connection with Russell Wilson. And I think there's rumors going on that the Broncos are looking to trade Jerry Jeudy. And if that's the case, man, like what if he ended up on a team like
the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know,
the Dallas Cowboys, or he ended up on a team like the Atlanta Falcons, just saying. Yeah. On a system that could utilize him better, although I don't know if Arthur Smith would exactly do that. But the point is maybe a fresh start could start capitalizing on what he's able to offer to an NFL team. Courtland Sutton, Corey, this guy, we thought he was going to be the next big thing. And he is super talented, but the injuries have slowed him down. And I think playing with Russell Wilson in this offense is kind of taking its toll. Like he hasn't played with a really competent quarterback in a while and maybe ever. And I think that's all a relative compounding effect.
Now, Travis Kelce, obviously, big story coming into this game, dealing with that injury. It looked like he is going to be active. I feel like Amazon paid Taylor Swift to be at the game tonight, so people will put their eyes on it. But Kelsey, Johnny, even though he's tight end 2 right now, it hasn't been great. Looks like Travis Kelsey's starting to slow down a bit. Am I tripping on saying that?
Nah, it's funny because, tight end 2 is only because the fact that the position is so shallow and Mark Andrews has missed some time. Kittle hasn't been that great aside from, the 3 touchdown game against Dallas. Kyle Pitts hasn't really been that great. It's been a mess if we're being 100% honest. And I think the tight end position is getting even slimmer. Travis Kelsey, you know what's funny about you saying him slowing down? There's probably not any video evidence of me saying that, but like in conversations I've had with people over the summer, I said I think Travis Kelsey, this could be his last great year. I could see him start his decline, or maybe he has one more great year. Like I think that's it, bro. He's 34. He's had an unbelievable career. It's a position that is very taxing on your body. And the fact is he's used like almost no other tight end. So I could see Kelsey slowing down a bit. I don't think it's to the point where he's going to be a dud out there, but I think we might be seeing Kelsey slow down to the point where we're not going to see the guy be putting up 1,100 yards and 110 catches.
So I was looking at 70 catch seasons, 70 catch, 1,000 yard, 70 catches, 1,000 receiving yard seasons for Kelsey. I counted all the way back to 2015. And I was like, this thing might be getting ready to slow down. Travis Kelsey is the same age as Rob Gronkowski?
I do.
How wild is that?
It is. And, the thing is here with Travis Kelsey is the fact that I think the ankle injuries kind of slowed him down. I mean, he had a butter matchup against Chicago. He was okay against the Jets, 6 for 60. He had a good game against the Vikings. So he's doing what you would want as a tight end in terms of getting between the 5 and 7 catch mark and getting between the 50 and 70 receiving yards, which is great. And then, he's got 3 touchdowns in only 4 games this year. I just don't know if we're going to see the same Kelsey that we've been accustomed to. His decline doesn't necessarily mean he won't be productive. It's just, I don't know if he's going to be as productive as the Travis Kelsey that we've known for the last 7 or 8 years.
All right, there we go. Let's get ready to take our first look at the screen, Johnny. Right? Get the sportsbook screen from Odds Jam up here. Look at some point spreads. I want to start to get your thoughts. And obviously, we'll be back tomorrow night with big bets going through the whole slate game by game. But I want to start to get your thoughts on some of this week's action. You know what I'm saying? And I want to start in Atlanta down there in the Dome. Basically, sitting at 2.5 painted across the board right now. Washington Commanders travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons this week. It's still kind of early in the week, Johnny, but I think I like the Commanders in this spot.
I haven't officially given a look yet or a play here. Early side for me would be Atlanta. Do I dare go back to the well on this team at home? I think probably. And the reason I say this is it's not just the record. It's not just because of how good Desmond Ridder has been at home in his career and what Arthur Smith is at home as a coach against the spread. This is inside a field goal. And I think Atlanta, their defense is going to be able to really slow down the Washington offense. Like Washington's offense, for the most part in that game, looked really bad against Chicago's defense. Some things out of the second half started running a little more hurry up, no huddle. But, Brian Robinson wasn't that impressive. Terry McLaurin was basically taken out of the game. I think Atlanta's defense can kind of copy that. And, if we're being honest, the Commanders' defense is a little bit disappointing, isn't it?
It's not been great this season. Now, but this is what I would come back to you with, and this is where I'm going with this one. I think that this Washington thing is a home thing. I think they're going to be bad at home, and I think they're going to play better on the road this year. So I actually like the Commanders on the road. That's what it is about this game. And Atlanta, like I said last week, Arthur Smith now 9-1 as a favorite on the money line at home and down there in Atlanta. I just think this is a good spot for the Commanders right here. I don't think it's going to be another close game. I don't think the Falcons pull out another close one. I think we see them get burnt this week in a close game.
Maybe. I mean, listen, I'm not 100% confident in Atlanta. I like this line inside of 3. I would probably lay it with the Falcons. It's a hold my nose play, but this is what we've seen Atlanta. These close games at home, the Green Bay game, the game against Houston, and I probably, if I was going to play this, would take Atlanta on the money line as opposed to laying the 2.5. But for Circa, I'm thinking about taking Atlanta minus 2.5, just because. I don't know, bro. I think Washington's missing something. Ron Rivera, to me,
the head coach.
Let me be honest about Ron Rivera. He lost his balls. He used to be Riverboat Ron. And maybe going back 10 years ago when he did something that seemed risky then, which right now is like pretty much common practice in the NFL. This guy was just punting on situations where he had to go for it, not going for 2. Like, he just played scared. He played to not lose. I can't stand that. And Ron Rivera is a good head coach, and he's a guy that made his name off being risky and gambling. I don't.
That's
like
when he
that.
had Cam Newton.
Yeah,
he's only been a winner with Cam Newton. He's been a loser outside of being around Cam Newton.
But still,
it's easy to be Riverboat Ron and go for it on 4th down when Cam Newton's the quarterback.
Totally get it. But at the end of the day, like, you can't be Riverboat Ron and not be taking those kind of risks. So I'm not really feeling it, bro. I think Ron Rivera, to me, he's lost a lot of favor. Like, I'll give them credit for, how well they played at Philadelphia, even though Philadelphia hasn't been good in their own regard. But, like, that's the perfect example we talked about. They had a chance to go for 2 to win the game at the end of regulation with no time on the clock. He made a bitch move and decided that they were going to go try and win it in overtime. I was very vocal about that a couple weeks ago when we mentioned it. I don't like backing a coach like that. I think I would hold my nose and go Atlanta at home where they've had success.
Interesting. It probably end up being split on that one tomorrow night. Let's go to another one. Very interesting game this week. Did have some line movement earlier today. Cincinnati Bengals, 3-point home favorite as it opened up versus the Seahawks. That 3.5. Those 3s are now gone. Still got a 3 at DraftKings, but it's juiced to +1. It's juiced to 120 on the Seahawks side. So right now, we are looking at the Seahawks taking some money in this game. Seahawks 2.5. Johnny, make it official already on the Thursday. Give me the Seahawks on the money line.
Wow. Corey, let me ask you a question. Do you think this is a classic spot where after Cincinnati put on a great game in Arizona last week, everybody is back on their bandwagon?
Yep.
Everybody bets them at home as a favorite, and then they let you down.
Yep. Pete Carroll as an underdog. I'm on it.
I'm not determined yet. I want to pick Cincinnati.
Okay.
But Seattle off a bye, that scares me. And the Circa contest has this game, I believe, at 3. So you're getting the full 3. To be honest, I think this game ends up coming down to be a field goal game.
Okay.
But Seattle as a dog off a bye. Corey, I can't have a legit side yet. Early lean is with Cincinnati, another home favorite, but I'm not making it official yet. We'll get into this more Sunday morning for me to break down.
All right, I have no issue with that. Like I said, still plenty of time left to go this week. Want to touch on another spot right here. Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Detroit Lions look pretty set up right now. Got that easy schedule. Right now, Detroit Lions are 10-1 to have the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I think they can get there, to be honest. That's how weak their schedule is. Now, this right here, everything says to me, fade Detroit in this spot. Got some 3s. Going up to 3.5 at Barstool, going up to 3.5 at Circa. So we're seeing Detroit take some money, and they do. I want to be against Detroit, Johnny. The problem is they cover the spread every week. They're fantastic versus the spread.
The only time they didn't cover it was a Royal Mint spot for the Seattle Seahawks back in week 2. Corey Parson, what do I say about these lines? Not the Lions, the lines. Every single time, if not almost every single time, at least this year, when we've seen a favorite giving 3.5, everybody does the let's run to the window and back the dog getting a field goal and a hook. Everybody is salivating at getting the underdog
So on
outside
Sunday
of the
night,
field goal.
on Sunday night with Dallas, that was a trap
Yes.
right there. Dallas with the hook was a trap. Dallas was not the bet on Sunday night. Clearly, we know that now, but I see where you're going.
But it wasn't just that game. It's happened a lot of times through this early in the season. And, Detroit was 3. Circa for the contest of the week is giving 3.5 out. Now it's kind of teetering on whichever book you're looking at. Like FanDuel currently right now is 3. But I got to be honest, I think Detroit is the play here. I do want to take Tampa, but I actually think the Lions on the road, they've been playing really well, even with the Bucs coming off a bye week. I can't fade this 3.5 thing. We might be onto something here. Almost every time we get a favorite laying outside of the field goal, the 3.5, they've pretty much covered almost all of them. So let's ride that train again. We're going to get Amon-Ra back this week, I think. So let's ride, baby.
All right, there you go right there. That's a couple early looks at some places we're leaning. My good homie Melanin Man wants to know, glad you brought this game up. Should I start T. Higgins or Gabe Davis in my flex spot and half point PPR? I don't know what I'm about to check the practice report right now.
Higgins is dealing with a cracked rib core, so I don't even know if he's going to play.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm starting Gabe Davis.
T. Higgins actually did practice today. T. Higgins was a limited participant in practice today, but I agree. I would still go Gabe Davis in this spot right here. Gabe Davis is turning into the player this year that we drafted him to be last year.
Yeah. Gabe Davis, he's got a butter matchup on Sunday night against the Giants at home. New York, I don't really expect him to be that competitive in this game. Daniel Jones, he's dealing with a neck injury. It's a revenge game for Tyrod Taylor, though. I don't know if it's going to mean anything. Barkley, we don't even know if he's going to play yet. And the only worry I have in this game is if Buffalo puts it away by the end of the third quarter, and if Davis hadn't gotten a big catch or a touchdown by then. But I think just based on the matchup and health, Gabe Davis has probably got to be my play.
All right, there you go right there. I got to check that. I think it's NYC Parson Melanin Man. I'll come back and drop it in the comments later. I think it's either NYPC Parson or C Parson, but appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless. All right, let me go through some more practice report stuff. I'm trying to get a couple names out of here that I did see pop up. I don't want to go through the whole thing. Devontae Adams didn't practice today. Don't think it's a big deal. Jordan Addison was limited in practice today and yesterday. I don't like that because a lot of people are going to Jordan Addison this week. Saquon was limited both days. Not a big deal. Like I said, I'm not on Saquon. Odell didn't get a full practice in the day. Nobody gives crap about Odell Beckham at this point. He's not going to be the answer if your fantasy team is struggling. Marquise Brown did not practice yesterday, but it looks like he could have. Don't have a practice report on him yet today. Treylon Burks, 2 DNPs. He's probably popped for this week. Keep continuing down. Anybody you want to ask, Johnny? Amari Cooper was a non-practice, but that was injury. That was not an injury. That was a personal matter right there. Keep continuing to go down this list. Mike Evans was a limited participant today. What's up?
Finish Evans because he's limited. This just gives him a shot to suit up, but he's over 30, dealing with a hamstring injury, something that ruined his season a few years ago. Evans is a dog, bro. He'll suit up and try and gut it out, but I just don't know if. I don't know even if he does suit up that he's going to be at 100%. I don't know if he's going to be on a full snap count. This is a classic Chris Godwin game, in my opinion.
Interesting. I like that idea. That's a good thought right there. Because I think are they going to end up passing the ball a lot? Now Godwin was a DNP today.
But that's just veteran maintenance, I would bet, because Godwin, I think, came out of that Saints game healthy. He had a monster contest, finally been waiting for it on my fantasy team. And then they had a bye week. So I feel like that's probably just veteran maintenance. Make sure your guys are fresh for a big
Told you earlier, T. Higgins was limited in practice. I just saw where Derrick Henry was limited yesterday, but got into practice today. DeAndre Hopkins was a full participant today after being limited yesterday. Continuing to stroll down the list, Rashawn Johnson, back-to-back DNPs. That Bears running back situation could be nasty this week, Johnny.
Yeah, I think Khalil Herbert's going to be out. Roshan's probably going to be out. Your guy's Deontay Foreman. I picked him up in a couple leagues this week. I thought maybe it's just best to have him. You don't even know how long Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert would miss. So maybe Foreman's the guy for this week and next week. I think, Foreman's been a guy who's proven to be successful over the last couple seasons in games. I don't think he's a long-term answer, but, look what he did with Carolina last year. He ended up having a really good stretch. He's a guy that if you're in a desperation play, you need a flex, you need an RB2. He's a guy who can not only start and give you some production, but he can end up busting a big game, especially if he's the RB1 this week against a weak Minnesota defense. Could be getting a lot of goal line carries, sneak a tutty or two. Maybe he gets you 60, 70 yards, and you end up having a 20-point day from a guy that you picked up on the waiver wire this week.
There you go. Not a bad idea right there. So definitely get involved with that. Tony Pollard limited in practice today with a shoulder injury. That's something to keep an eye on. Wan'Dale Robinson, if anybody wants to know, is limited participant in practice. Miles Sanders with back-to-back DNPs with a shoulder injury for Miles Sanders. I don't even think you want the next person up in that situation right there.
Chuba Hubbard. Who do they got this week? They got Miami, correct?
Yeah, so it could be some action. But
yeah, I think Chuba Hubbard's a decent flex play this week. If you have him, stashed and you're dealing with some less than ideal situations on your team, I think Chuba Hubbard is a solid play against a bad Miami defense. I think Bryce Young. Do you remember how I said last week that I think if there was one big upset to be had, it could have been Carolina or Carolina to keep the game close? Remember I said that?
I was with you.
Although the final score did not indicate it, Carolina had a lot of opportunities to keep that game close. And it all started with Frank Reich being a total bitch and not going for it on 4th and 5 in Detroit territory on the first drive. Bryce Young had some weird turnovers. Like he threw an interception to Aiden Hutchinson, I think, on a screen. Just some bizarre things happened, like turnovers and mental mistakes that, if they don't happen, we might have a much closer game. Carolina's got guys that can produce. I think Chuba Hubbard could be one of those this week against a bad Miami defense. So I wouldn't be out on Hubbard this week.
All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown got a full practice, St. Johnny, so your boy's good to go. St. Brown is good to go. Andrew Thomas did not practice for the New York Giants. That's probably going to get ugly early. Who else do we got here? Continuing to go down this list. Kevontae Turpin in Dallas, who's now become a thing. He had a DNP today. Darren Waller was limited yesterday. No word on Deshaun Watson. Haven't got a practice report out of Cleveland yet for the day, but Watson had some problems earlier this week. And then we see what's up.
What's going on with that? What's going on with that? Something's not right because, I've been seeing it on Twitter and, he hasn't been practicing. He's not speaking to the media. There's got to be something more that's going on. David Njoku played with half of his face.
Son, did you see that? Did you see that?
I saw it.
Yeah, that was wild.
I saw it. And he played.
Here's the thing. Somebody actually told me this. I know somebody who had a similar, who had an incident like that. When that thing, when that peels off, his skin is going to be immaculate. You know what I'm saying? After the burn and all that stuff peels off, it's going to have an amazing glow to it.
Well, it's another.
I don't know why that is.
I think as humans we have 7 layers of skin. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, he could be on his 4th layer. That's why it's fresh and brand new. Has never seen the light of day.
Maybe that's probably what it is, Johnny.
But there's some weird stuff going on about Watson, and I don't know if it's just injury related or something.
I doubt it's injury related at all. It's probably something else.
He's not speaking to the media.
I told this story because he's embarrassed. That's why he's not speaking to the media. I told this story earlier this year after he struggled that bad game he had on a Thursday night or on Monday night. Whenever he played in prime time, he had a terrible game. And I remember watching Gil's Arena. Shout out to my man Gilbert Arenas, right? And Gilbert Arenas was talking about how after the gun incident, he didn't want to deal with the media. He didn't want to come outside. He would go to the game, game over, pack his bags, get in his car, go home, draw the blinds. He was embarrassed. He wanted nothing to do with the outside world. I think Watson has some of that going on. I think that's a part of it. And it could be some other stuff going on too.
I would probably lean
he
to
went
that
from
way.
being like, oh, Deshaun
dark-
Watson's my
He's
man.
a
I love
darling.
Deshaun Watson.
He's the new darling of the NFL. He's a great guy. During COVID, he gave some of his game checks to the working staff of Houston's or of NRG Stadium.
Hurricanes. He's also been very
exactly.
They've had some bad hurricanes down there. He's helped with that. But
bro,
he is
happened?
not in the Cleveland. He's embarrassed. That's what happened.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Like this, there's not this same aura about him, and obviously with the whole legal thing that he's dealing with, it's just it also reflects in his play. This guy does not look the same.
Terrible. Yeah. People can say what they want, but his play has been horrible. He was good a couple weeks ago against Tennessee.
That's it. But like that's the one game he had, but he just does not look the same. Not even talking about off the field, on the field. This guy, when we watched him in Houston and he was pulling out magician plays like Michael Vick used to, Sachs used to escape from, we're just mesmerized by this guy. That is not the same person or player we're watching. And it's just like the light went out. Like there was this halo over Deshaun Watson's head. Now it's like it's like horns and a spear. Like it just doesn't make any sense, bro. It's very bizarre. And in reference to Watson, who I would not think he plays this weekend, we're probably either going to get PJ Walker or DRT against the Niners. This line was at 4 on Monday morning. Right now on FanDuel, it's currently 8.5. It's continued to climb like a point or a point and a half every day. Are you buying at all Cleveland having a chance against San Francisco?
No, hell no.
Well, so there's an interesting stat. Jim Schwartz has had Kyle Shanahan's
That is true too. I heard about that. Jim Schwartz does have Kyle Shanahan's number. You're right. That is true. I heard that today. How interesting the stat was that too. Unbelievable. Kyle Shanahan has never beat a Jim Schwartz coach defense.
Or he's like 1-8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that matters, or what would you lay San Francisco up to?
I mean, it looks like you can. I mean, to be honest with you, it looks like you can lay double digits with San Francisco every week right now. They're a well-oiled machine, but now they're going on the road to a tough defense, coming off a big spot. So you would expect a letdown here. I really don't see no letdown in this team, though. I think it's a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey. I think Brock Purdy do what Brock Purdy do. I think they are. So put it like this: 7-8 is about the right number.
So luckily now, if let's say Watson doesn't play and he officially gets ruled out, 8.5 right now probably becomes 10.5, 11. Yeah. Because I think the movement of this line is not just people betting San Francisco early in the
Watson
week.
News. Yeah,
it's hearing Watson news that they're moving and adjusting the line a little bit every day, so that way when the news officially comes down, it might jump another point or two. But here's my thing. Despite that Jim Schwartz stat, never get in front of a steam train. What I mean by that is don't try to be the person
hero
that picks
against them. That's the hero bet.
Don't be a hero and try to pick against them and guess when they're going to lose or they're not going to cover. Like, wait for the train to crash before you go on that route, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to ride San Francisco against the spread, and I got 7.5. And, God forbid this line goes to 10.5, and I'm sitting at a 3-point advantage. I'm taking the 49ers with the Jim Schwartz thing be damned. But don't get in front of the steam train. Ride the wave, baby. Ride the wave.
All right. If you haven't gotten involved with Underdog Fantasy Let, it's live in mad states. Totally legit and legal. It pays out right after the game. You want to get that cash out the account, you can do that. You can sign up in the comment section in this video right here. Matter of fact, go to the description section. Hit that link. It'll give you a deposit match up to $500 this week. So Underdog Fantasy base stat game contest for the night and their pick'em contest. I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy, lower than 4 receptions. Marvin Mims Jr., higher than 20.5 receiving yards. Kadarius Toney, lower than 28.5 receiving yards. And Isaiah Pacheco, lower than 16.5 rushing attempts. I think it's a lower game. Primetime under in place. Primetime unders hitting at about 62% in the last 3 years. So primetime under. There goes my underdog fantasy stats-based contest plays. Johnny, you got any props for this game?
You know what? I think Pacheco gets in the end zone. I'm hearing reports of bad weather. Maybe field conditions aren't ideal. I'd like Pacheco to get in the end zone. I think McKinnon can get in the end zone. I'm probably going to take a look at uh, Pacheco's rushing yards, 75.5. I don't know why I've been hearing people think he's going to go under that. The only way I could see it is if they just decide to give McKinnon more touches because Pacheco.
It could be some garbage time work from McKinnon.
Yeah, exactly. Like if Kansas City goes up 3 scores early, but it's still a lower scoring game, technically speaking, and they're like, oh, let's rest up Pacheco. You know what I mean? On a short week. I think the only scenario is that way because he's going against a Denver defense that has gotten gashed by every single solitary back they have faced this year. They just let up 177 yards to Breece Hall. Pacheco runs like a moose. He runs hard. He runs violent. He wants to kill people in his path. I think Pacheco getting over 75.5 yards is very doable. I think I'm with you on the carries, though. I'm getting a little intimidated by the 16.5 carries just because I could see Kansas City get up pretty big early. And then McKinnon gets more work, and maybe the Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets involved. And I just don't know if Pacheco's in for like a 20 carry game.
All right, there you go right there. As far as the game goes right now, looking at it live, we are still seeing Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs. All right, number came in. Well, did it come in? No, it's at 10. So we see 10. DraftKings is at 10. For the most part, we got 10.5 painted across the board right here. No play for me on the point spread, Johnny. Give me under 47.
Yeah, absolutely no point spread. Take the small, lay the big.
Yep, that's about it.
So Thursday night, I don't like betting Thursday nights. And to be honest, the things that have been happening with these Kansas City games are disgraceful. It's been disgraceful. And there's a heavy bet count on Kansas City tonight, so you never know what kind of tomfoolery is going to happen.
That's true.
Absolutely no play on the point spread for me.
All right, there you go right there. Don't forget tomorrow right here on the Executive Network YouTube channel, probably around 7 or 8 o'clock, we'll post big bets. That's me and Johnny getting you ready. Our main plays that we're taking for the window this week that Johnny's playing in the contest, so we get a chance to sit back, crack open a beer, break it down real good. But right now, go enjoy Thursday night football. Don't be like me and look for it every week. It's on Amazon Prime. Get your fantasy lineup set, get some stiffs out your lineups, whatever the case may be. And we'll be back with you all weekend, basically, really, to help you get ready for week 6. For my man, Johnny V.T.V., it's Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. We lit and we out.